It's didn't see me. You didn't know. Mum said you could watch it. Hello, and welcome to this day's episode of My Mum Said I Could Watch It part. I haven't done episode numbers. Um, that's off center apparently. I'm going new. No, I'm in a square now, so apparently this is the optimal thing for you to experience my film views. Subscribe. Uh, Friday the 13th, part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Um, for those of you who are, and honestly, Tom, I really just write some jokes. Um, I have skipped part 7 because I wouldn't have watched part 7 at the time. The whole crux, there has to be some byline, is that I'm talking about films that were part of my actual viewing habit. So I'm not watching new films. To me, I'm watching films and then trying to figure out where they were. This one particularly sticks because it was on all the comic books. Virgo didn't exist, it was on the back pages of it all. I believe Jason Lives was very similar. Don't recall the New Blood posters at all. I'm sure there were, but they just weren't as iconic as the grave or the hockey mask over the New York Tromaville skyline. For those of you who are not familiar with the UV of Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. And I think we have to acknowledge that this is a time when we thought having the eighth part in a series was absurd. Family. I've not even seen any of the films. That's all I know about it. This this one shows what I would now call the Marvelitis of the franchise. Part 6 was very much a soft reboot. Jason is undead. He's an unstoppable killer. He came back and he killed everyone on camp. This suffers on the fact that while it changes it slightly in terms of setting, you have the frat pack kids on a graduation holiday on a luxury cruise liner. Whoa, everything free in America. The usual hodgepodge milieu of very shreddable teens turns up with a prickly principal and an over empathic English teacher. One of the kids has a tedious backstory linked to Jason, having fallen in the lake that he drowned in, having created some sort of psychic rapport with Jason's. And this is where it all goes wrong. You could have had the tank on a boat. You really could have. And the set pieces there are quite good. Some of them are quite gratuitous rather than shocking. The nudity's up, the suspense is down. Um, there's some nice motifs about that middle class, upper affluent, really. I'm not even middle class, affluent aspirations of music, video, MTV, being a pop star. And Jason just being the epitome of alt-right cancel culture and all of them. Boom, boom, boom. And that would have worked. That would have worked. But unfortunately, they really misstep here in that the characters, you either need to go completely two dimensional and have them be thoroughly disposable henchmen, or just have less of them and have them more realized and build on the suspense. This unfortunately just hits the post and bounces off somewhere because they try and bring in a father and son argument with the captain of the boat and the son. Principal trying to teach the sort of erstwhile psychic lady who's linked to Jason is because he pushed her in the same river. Um, really pads it out. The film's over 100 minutes long. It really outstays its welcome. Jason this time actually played by Kane Hodder. My apologies to Part 6. Jason Lives, um, who came in with Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. This film is a middle act. It's a middle act. It's done that weird thing of trying to tie in everything. It's the first real reappearance of Ghost Kid Jason, as far as I'm aware. Part 7 did have the psychic girl being able to resurrect her dad to fight Jason, so you had a two zombie fight off. and ultimately it ends with Jason actually being completely destroyed, not just killed or dismembered, but melted to nothing as goo. The Jason at the end of this does look very trauma. The fear and phobia he has of water comes in here, which will play out actually more effectively in Freddy versus Jason. But its only interest is the curios from what has come from four and what's come after. There's nothing in it itself. It is the lesser the sum of its parts. And this is why I bring in this should have been a warning sign. This should have been the absolute klaxon in the cloister bell or whatever you want to call it. Um, CJ played Friday the 13th Part 6. I should have looked that up. I wrote that on the comments as well. I feel so rude to the actor. He was uncredited in the film as well, so I shouldn't be that bad about it. So the few set pieces there are the moments of humor as well tend to be quite naff. There's a double-edged sword in the fact that one of the few black actors in it does survive to get to Manhattan, and there is a rather admirable fight where he's just punching the unstoppable force that is Jason Voorhees until his knuckles bleed. Camera stays on him, stays on him, stays on him. You just will for him, will for him, will for him. It's the first moment, ostensibly, where there's a mano a mano moment with Jason. But it's undercut. It's funny it says undercut because not only is he decapitated in one punch, but it falls off, rolls backwards, and then falls into a comic skip fall. That really undermined any sort of notions it had for a hero. I feel that even the Manhattan stuff was thoroughly missold. It shouldn't have been sold on that. So in the last 20 minutes, there's one nice set piece, really, which I'll always remember. Is some um, gangsters come up on Jason. Jason removes his hockey mask and they all run away. Which brings me to the point Jason has the most erratic motivation in this film. Part six is an absolute shark. He's an absolute shark. There's one bit at the end where it's like he wants to kill Tommy. Okay, I get that. There's been points where Tommy has been the person who's been able, because Tommy really killed him before he became a supernatural entity. This he's ignoring people, he's bypassing people, he's doing this and that. And I know it's a little thing, but he's doing a lot of heavy breathing. There's a level of voyeurism here that is really a Myers Halloween element. Voorhees just kills. He just kills. The order on the physicality of that and the timing is a great force, but I think too much. It's too slow a pace. It's not suspense. It's just languid and it's voyeuristic. I would say that it. Having said that, it is one of the better Jason films because it is as the films progressed, and by the time we get to Jason 10, which in many ways is the epitome of it all, he's an unstoppable force who kills teenagers. Leave it at that. He's supernatural. He will regenerate from anything else. He absolutely will not stop. Just leave it at that. Um, the inner child, Jason. No one cares. No one cares. That's the reality. You've got to create some sort of thing, and you've given him this unbreakable element with water. Great. With water and with fire. Freddy versus Jason is a good film, but I was a grown man by the time I saw that. So that's just me having poor taste. So six, yes. Four, I would say. Of the films, it's one of the better ones if you're going for the franchise itself. In terms of as a return to the 80s, I would stick to six and sleep tight with the other guy with the glove because the fantasy money is much more there. And there's a real sense of pace. And if you want a persona, that's a persona to have. This was quite trawling. I'd say no, no. Go straight to six, and maybe pick up a copy of Sandman issue 8. You know that one that you kept reading in the hallway to like be all like cool in front of that sixth form girl you fancied. Get that one out again. It's the introduction of death, so there's prose in the front of it, so it looks like you're actually reading a book. Okay, and with that, I'll leave it to the classics. Sleep tight.